Today's 6th of January 2022, and I suppose it officially marks the end of the Christmas holidays for us. I actually go back to work tomorrow on a Friday. Can you believe it? Anyway, on our last day we've chosen to come down to one of our favourite walks. This is just along the front here in Palmanova. Nice, easy, flat walk, and the sun's shining at the moment. As we left home it was pouring with rain, but the rain here is very much local, and can be raining in one place and sunny in another, and that's the case today. So we're just going to have a little walk along the front here in Palmanova. We've seen this strange weather phenomena quite frequently, and I remember in Bendinat there's a tunnel you drive through, and I remember raining on one side and the sun shining on the other side of the tunnel. It can be that much different. But today the sun is shining here in Palmanova. It's a lot cooler than it has been, so while we were away up on the north of the island, the temperatures were typically between 18 and 20 degrees Celsius, and they've dropped down now to around about 13 or 14 degrees Celsius, so quite a lot cooler. But even though it's cooler, the temperatures are really nice for walking, and I've got my scarf on. I'm already feeling rather warm. I've got a jumper on, so at some point these may need to be discarded. There are people actually sitting on the beach. There's lots of boats out on the sea, yachts, and it's a fiesta, and so a lot of places are closed. Looks like the hotel's open actually, Fergus Hotel, across the road. And we've just walked past one restaurant and there was a queue outside, people waiting to get in. It's very typical here if they get very busy. You queue up. One of our favourite restaurants in Canada used to give us hello. One of our favourite restaurants in Canada used to give you raffle tickets as you came in, and you just waited for your number to be called. But you can see here, here's the Can Blanc, and it's very busy today. If you haven't reserved a table, I don't think you'll be dining there today. More and more people arriving to go on the beach. She's met someone she knows. Let's move on. So yesterday, 5th of January, we went into Palma, and we were very lucky with the weather. It's been raining in the morning, but the rain cleared up in the afternoon. We went in about 5 o'clock, I suppose, and got stuck in traffic as everybody else had decided to go into Palma at about the same time, because the Kings Los Reyes were due in at 6 o'clock. So we just about made it, and we went to the Passage de Born, which is just near to C&A, and we set up there and managed to make a video of the procession. So last year there was a procession, but it was not live. You couldn't actually go and watch it. The procession was videoed and shown on the local television. But this year they were determined, in Palma at least, to go ahead with the procession. And to my surprise anyway, it was very well done. It was excellent. Lots and lots of floats, lots of people taking part. There were crowds there, but perhaps not in the same scale as previous years. We've in the past had to stand in the middle of the Born, which is quite a wide area, twice as wide as the area we're walking on now, and in the past that's been packed. Well, this year it wasn't, and we were able to get close to the road, and so we did make a video which is already on the YouTube channel. So if you want to see how we celebrate the arrival of the three kings here in Mallorca, and that's a good video for you to watch. in some areas, in Palmanova for example, they did cancel it, so that was sad. But the Palma Council said they really wanted to keep the spirits of the young children high and not for them to lose this part of their heritage really, and so they were determined right from the beginning to go on. It was really well done, lots of very nice floats, lots of dancers, singers, brass bands, drummers, and Anita particularly likes the drummers. They get very, very noisy. If you're watching the video, you'll see or hear the drummers do get very noisy, but it is quite spectacular. The video is about 30 minutes long, which is how long it took for them to go past us. And we're just going to go up some steps, so I'm going to just turn the video off for a second. Quick look back at the beach here, Palmanova. Sun's out, quite a few people walking along the sand. We're going to make our way down. You might be able to see as we look over towards Palma and Arenal. It is a little bit grayer in that direction, and the wind is picking up a little bit here. The sea's fairly calm, so we must be in the sheltered area. So our youngest daughter's booked to come out in another week or so's time, and fortunately for her, some of the rules have changed. In particular, on her return, she doesn't have to have a pre-departure test, which is what we were having to do last summer. Before we left, we had to have a pre-departure test before we left, which involved us going to a centre clinic and having a swab, and it was a lateral flow test, but it still cost us 20-30 euros each time we had it. Then they got rid of it, and then they brought it back again, and now they're getting rid of it again. So she won't need to do that. And the other important thing is when she goes back, I think she'll still have to do the day 2 test, which again can be a lateral flow. We were having to have PCR tests. I think she might not need to do the isolation that they introduced recently. So the rules are constantly changing, and they're different from Spain, they're different for the UK, and in the past they have even been different for the islands. So the Baleares have been different from the mainland of Spain. So you really do have to be careful, you do have to check. And if you're coming to Mallorca, if you put something like travelling to the Baleares into Google, it will come up with all of the things you need to do, the forms you need to fill in before you come, which effectively is a passenger locator form. So we've come round now to the second beach in Palmanova, the middle beach really, and it's busy, quite busy. A few people here already playing volleyball, some people sitting down on the beach. I can't at the moment see anyone in the sea. It's very, very bright, the sun's glistening off the surface. We're going to head down the steps, so it's camera off again, and I'm getting very warm. This is well, the scarf's gone. Oh. And I think before I go much further, I'm going to be taking my jumper off. Luckily I've got my backpack. a busy beach, this one. I'm looking in this direction, so not many clouds. Up the steps we go. And now I am going to take my jumper off. Ah, well, that's better. I'm just taking my jumper off. And I can see I'm going to get quite warm walking along here. I'll keep in the shade of the trees. So in the summertime, the shade afforded by these trees is something that you really like to have, because it does get very hot. But even now on the 6th of January in the sun as you're walking, it can get quite warm. Oh, maybe next time I'll be putting my shorts on. And he will be putting an extra scarf on. I can see it coming. News as far as the pandemic is concerned isn't good, as far as numbers are concerned anyway. Number of positives yesterday was getting close to 5,000 in the Baleares, which is a phenomenal number considering only a few months ago there were actually less than 50. So it's really shot up, and this is largely due to this new Omicron variant. So much so that, like everywhere else, they're running short of tests and things. So now, if you have symptoms, you don't need to have the PCR test. Following very similar rules to what's happening in the UK. And there's a considerable concern as well that the system we have here in Spain, as far as doctor's notes for you to go sick, you have to have 2 notes. One is called the baja, which means you can't go to work, but you can't go back to work until you've had the alta. So the baja signs you off and the alta signs you back on. And under the normal circumstances, you see the doctor to get the baja, and you have to see the doctor to get the alta, and the company you work for can't take you back unless you have that alta. Well, they're looking now to change the rule so that you get the baja, which lasts for 7 days, and if you've still got the symptoms, then you can continue. Probably might have to still see the doctor again. But if you don't have any symptoms anymore, you can go back to work, and you don't need to get the alta. At least that's the plan that they're hoping to put into effect here. And it remains to see what happens when I go back to work tomorrow. And the schools in general, the Spanish schools, don't actually start back till Monday, to see how many people, children and teachers are actually affected by this, and that could be quite devastating if there's a lot of teachers off. How do you cover all the classes? So watch this space, we'll find out tomorrow. At least I will. Anita goes back next week, and she does her 1 day a week. In terms of the ICU, that's been okay recently, though it's now getting more clients than they would like, and so it's gone from green to amber to now on the red list. And when you look at the numbers there, it's not people with the Omicron variant. The people in the ICU continue to be going up with the Delta variant. So different variants. And I was reading about some more variants that are appearing, and hopefully they're getting weaker and weaker. But there's one which is a cross between flu and COVID, which has surfaced. And then just this morning I read about one which is coming from France, the south of France. So if it's in the south of France, it could very easily come over to Mallorca. A lot of French people do come to Mallorca. Here's a little tidbit for you. Capital of Mallorca used to be in France. How strange is that? Anyway, I digress. So yeah, we'll wait and see what those are happenings with the new variants. People at this time of the year, I seem to remember when I was in England, so the television was flooded with adverts for holidays. I don't know if the same is true now, but people planning their holidays. At the moment, you've particularly got to think if you've got children, because the rule in Spain is that if you come to Spain and you're 12 or over, you have to have been double vaccinated. Now, of course, those rules can change, and at the end of January they're being reviewed, so we've still got another 2 or 3 weeks for that. But at the moment the rule stands that everyone 12 and over has to be double vaccinated. And I know that there are a lot of children in the UK that haven't been vaccinated, and indeed couldn't be vaccinated until recently. And so it's people like 11-year-olds who haven't been able to have a vaccination yet. Then if they have the vaccine at the earliest opportunity, then they have to wait 90 days before they can have their second vaccine. And if in that time they reach the age of 12, then they can't come unless they've had that second vaccine. So it's a bit to think about there, and a little bit to weigh up. But of course, rules can change. Rules can change in the UK, rules can change here in Spain, in Mallorca. But it is a little bit of a concern for people with families. People who've been sending me messages planning to come. Some have actually already arrived here to spend part of January, and some planning to come the next few weeks, and they've been asking me what's open, what's not open. Well, pretty much it's a lot quieter. If you're in Palma's a city, people live and work there, so places remain open. But when you go to the resorts, a lot of the places that you'd expect to be open in the summer are actually closed now. So there are a few oases, and we've already seen quite a few bars open, restaurants open, and here's the Chinese, which is looking pretty full today.
Busy.
Very popular place, and that's one that's been open throughout the pandemic whenever it could be open. Just finishing the middle beach here in Palmanova. Clouds seem to be more on the east of the island than the west, so we're quite lucky. And the sea is looking very clear. Might be a few ripples on it today, but you can see right down to the bottom. I'm just coming up to Santa Lucia Hotel, which the past few years has closed in the winter time. Quite a few years now, actually. It used to be one of the places that stayed open throughout the winter, but I don't know how many years now it's been closed in the winter time. And it's an opportunity for them to do any refurbishment that they need to do, or just close it up and then open it when they can. If you're wanting to know when things are opening up, the Calvia notice board on Facebook has been a great place through 2021, and I'm guessing that Philip, who is one of the administrators there, will be searching out the places that open up as they do. 2022 did a great job last year, and it was much appreciated by everyone that used the Calvia notice board, which covers all of the areas in Calvia, so it's not just Palmanova, but Magaluf, Pagera, anything really, and to some extent some of the rest of the island. So as I walk past Santa Lucia, my thoughts are always with Shauna and her mum Claire, and Claire, hope you're feeling a little bit better, and wishing you both a very happy new year, happy 2022, and look forward to seeing you in the summer when the sun's shining and the Santa Lucia is open, as we just walk around to the next beach. And again, there's a few people already on the beach. See, this could be our opportunity. Anita might go in the sea in July or August, no other months. So this is the playa of San Matias. The sun really does make it feel a whole lot warmer than it really is. I think Anita wishes she got her parasol with her.
I've got my umbrella.
Having seen the rain this morning, we thought an umbrella was more apt than a parasol. Right in front of us we have the Hotel San Matias, and then just to the right, just peeping through, is the Globales Palmanova apartments, and a bar across the road which never closes. That's Rasputin. He's been quite amazed throughout the pandemic, when everything else was closed. He was there open with his clients. This part of the bay here, we've got a lot of yachts moored out on the sea. They're spending their day in the sunshine, in the calm waters here of the San Matias beach. In the distance I can see someone fishing. He's either caught something very big or his hook is stuck something. Perhaps not so many people on the beach, on the Somatias beach as the other two, but still a few. Up on the right is CISO, which was one of the new places to open up during the pandemic. A really difficult time for anyone to open up, but they were very, very busy, and everything's now been boarded up, quite literally boarded up. Everything is closed, protected for the winter. You can imagine, any businesses that are right on the beach here, they've got to protect themselves from the sea, the wind, and if it gets really windy, the sand that gets blown in, and it can really damage the structures. So, good idea to get it boarded up, and then hopefully, I'm imagining around Easter time, all the boards will be coming down, or maybe before that actually, and any repair works will be done so that they're ready for the 2022 season. There's the children's park. I go back to school tomorrow, and there's a week of normal school, and then the following week the Saints' days start again, and fiestas. First of those is San Antonio, first big celebration. That'll be an island-wide celebration. I'm not sure what, if anything, will be going on. It's really quite often for the animals. It's a celebration when the people take their animals to church and they get blessed by the priest. But in some of the villages and towns there's bonfires and picnics and all sorts of things. But a lot of those things have been cancelled this year. And the really big one, which is the 20th, and well, the 19th and the 20th, is for San Sebastian, which is the patron saint of Palma. So it doesn't affect Palmanova or Calvia, but it does if you live or work in the Palma area. It's actually on a Thursday this year, and it's a bank holiday. So I'll be off on the 20th. Looking past the Cantina Sol, and heading in the direction of Magaluf at the moment, and sunshine and blue skies ahead of us. I hope that carries on for the rest of 2022. Sunshine and blue skies. After the 20th of January, for me, it becomes mock exam times for people doing their GCSEs and A-levels. So here in Mallorca, I teach at an international school, and the students do GCSEs similar to those that are done by students in the UK or in England and Wales. But they're the international variety. and then also A levels, which again very similar to the ones that students do in the UK. For those of you who are interested, we do the Cambridge board for the GCSEs, at least in chemistry, and at Excel for A levels. So quite often we would start heading back, but at this point in any walk we're always in search of a coffee. So we're going to walk a little bit further, see if we can find a coffee. And there's another reason, of course, is just around the corner is his Pappy's bar, which I know is going to be closed. But it's always nice to include it. And while we're here, across the road is one of the medical centres where people have been able to go for their PCR tests or lateral flow tests. But on our side of the road we have Pappy's. So we're not walking around Palmanova. We're sort of giving Palmanova a miss and taking a shortcut towards Magaluf. I think Anita wants to get her 10,000 steps in today. I think I might become exhausted. Ooh. There's always a taxi. If ever you do come to Palmanova on holiday, it really isn't far to walk to Magaluf. A very short walk, or vice versa. If you're staying in Magaluf, it's not far to walk to go into Palmanova, and they are two quite different resorts. And someone was commenting on Magaluf as how it's somewhere that they would never go. I do see the point. Magaluf can be a place to be avoided, particularly in the early hours of the morning. But in the daytime, and in the winter time, it is quite pretty. And the government is trying, many would say, not trying hard enough to clean up their act and do something about the problems that Magaluf has. Now, they need to do a lot more. There are issues with Magaluf, and there have been pretty much for as long as we've been living in Mallorca, and it has always had this reputation, despite the fact that companies like Melia have invested millions upon millions in hotels here, trying to bring the place up market, and I'm not sure how successful that move has been. Across the road there we've got a sports centre where the big public car park, that's a free car park if you're driving into Magaluf, and you can park there at no cost, it's municipal. And this shopping centre in front does have an underground car park, which does have barriers, so I'm guessing you do have to pay. It was free for a long time. And then right in front of us we've got the House of Kathmandu and the hotel. I'm definitely getting warm. round to Leo's pub and wondering whether they've taken a well-earned break or whether they're actually open. It's one of our favourite destinations, but they're all chained up today. Our other favourite destination across the road is also closed. We have a decision to make. One moment please. So sadly we're not going to Leo's pub today, but we will be back. We're going to head a little bit back towards Palmanova and see if we can find somewhere there to have a drink. But in the meantime, you've seen all this bit, so I'm going to switch the camera off until we get somewhere different. So see you in a moment. Well, we managed to find somewhere for a coffee. We're back down at the Beehive and last coffee before we go home. So cheers, thanks for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Bye.